Welcome back to Brad Pitt Career Mode on F1 25. Today we're back for round 7 at Imola. You guys know the drill by now. First things first, we're doing research and development. We've got one part we can do on the aero, but after that, we are pretty much out of things we can research. They're unknown upgrades, so we're going to have to get a facility improvement to get the rest of these unlocked. Probably should have done these earlier, because they take 17 days to complete, but here we go, aero and chassis breakthrough, so this will unlock those upgrades for us. We do have a lot of parts that we can start development on, and these go on the car before this race. We got more chassis development, and as for powertrain, we can finally do the ERS upgrade. I feel like we've been waiting on that forever. Alright, moment of truth here. Hopefully these all get developed. If that's the case, they'll all get on the car before this race weekend, which would be absolutely huge to have a bunch of upgrades. Okay, one red. Hopefully most of these go through. All right, gotta go back to development. Alright, so how many upgrades do we have? 4 upgrades for Brad Pitt, 2 powertrain upgrades, and 2 aero upgrades. So hopefully that gives us a big performance boost this weekend. So I'm just now realizing this for the first time, but you can do a vehicle performance comparison between your 2 cars on the team. So Brad Pitt has been getting all the upgrades, obviously. You can see he has 17, and our teammate has 12. So if you look at the white dotted line, Brad Pitt's car's performance is pretty much on that white line. And if you go back to the rest of the field here, we're pretty close to Aston Martin and Haas. Just with better driving than the AI, we're going to be faster than them. So we're not too far off from the top teams, at least in Brad Pitt's car. Okay, into the race weekend we go. Hopefully we get a better result than last time out in Miami. That was pretty atrocious. Man, I will say I much prefer the regular race weekend format. No sprint race. We get 3 full practice sessions, a lot of time to tweak the car and get all of our practice laps in. But yeah, Miami was absolutely terrible, so definitely needing a much better result than last time. The car setup is definitely feeling pretty good so far. It's feeling really balanced. I'm definitely getting good grip on the front end, which we did not have last time out. So we do have rain coming in the next 2 practice sessions, as well as the race. So once we get into those rainy sessions, I'm going to try to get a good wet setup, and we should be pretty well set for the race. Okay, yeah, I think this setup is pretty good. We added a lot more aero on the front end and the rear end, and obviously some tweaks in suspension and suspension geometry and tire pressures, but it's feeling pretty good. Hopefully we're on the inters for the race. The wet tires are terrible. All right, so we got full sunshine for qualifying, and the race looks to be very wet. So we're gonna need to run kind of something balanced between the 2 sessions here. First lap in qualifying 1 coming to an end here. Didn't really feel like the best lap. I made a couple mistakes throughout some of the corners here, but we're gonna set a 1:17.6. which is definitely very slow. All right, down to P21. We definitely need a much faster lap time for our second lap here, but we should get through to Q2, no problem. A lot left on the table that lap. That was not great, but we're 9/10ths up, and that should get us through to Q2, just barely, I guess, 15th. After Q1. Okay, first lap in Q2 coming to an end here. We're on the old set of soft, so it's not going to be a very fast lap, but just a good benchmark time. It's a 1:17.1. All right. Okay, definitely need a fast lap here. We're on the new tires, so we should be a lot quicker. We're at the bottom of the standings, though, in Q2. And around the final corner here on our final lap in Q2, about a second improvement, and crossing the line, we set a 1:16 flat. And I think that will be enough. We get through to Q3. That's huge. Well, I've had Gasly up my ass this entire lap, so it's definitely going to be a little slow. We made some mistakes. It's a 1:16.8 for our first lap in Q3. Here we go. Pressure's on. Our final lap in Q3 here. We're currently 10th. So we're going to need definitely a big improvement on this lap to at least make a couple places up on the start. Into turn 1 we go. Need a really good line through here. Looking pretty smooth. A couple tenths up now. 5/10ths is the current delta from last lap. Really wide right there. The track limits are so broken in this game. Kind of a bad line through the chicane, but that's fine. Final couple of corners now. Gonna really attack this inside curb. Good line through there, a little wide around that final corner right there, and onto the straight we go. Going to be about 1.2 seconds of improvement across the line, and we're into the 1:15s. I think it was a 1:15.6, and that puts us 7th on the grid for the race. Sainz has the exact same time as us, 1:15.632. That's crazy. That's the second time this season that's happened. What are the odds of that?
If I had a nickel for every time I
qualified the same time as another driver in Q3,
I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right?
Looks like they want us on 2 stints of the wet compound tire, so I guess it's raining pretty hard out there. It's going to be very slippery, especially into turn 1. But anyway, 7th on the grid, 5 red lights are coming on, and we are racing around Imola for 32 laps. Pretty good start off the line, not too much wheel spin, already passing Antonelli in the Mercedes, and down into turn 1 we go. We're gonna try to brake a little early just to make sure I don't slide into the rear end of Lando Norris, maybe around the outside of turn 1, but a little too far back. It's definitely very slippery everywhere on track. No dry line has been formed yet, so pretty much the entire track surface is going to be completely slick everywhere, really close to contact with Leclerc, almost hitting him twice, really slippery on corner exit right there. This is going to be very tricky to keep up with the top teams once we get later on into this race. Already starting to lose touch with the top 4 right here. 1.5 seconds is the gap to the cars in front, really wide right here, dipping a wheel off the track and onto the gravel. Very sloppy through these last couple of corners. The track is so slippery, but anyway, starting lap 2 of 32 in Imola, it looks like Carlos Sainz might be going for something around the outside. He has more straight line speed than us. We do have the battery to defend against it. Antonelli onto the grass for just a second there, slamming into us. Into the braking zone we go, just barely trying to keep it on the track. And we can keep 5th place after the first couple of corners on lap 2. That was a crazy move on the grass from Antonelli. Well, we were already losing touch to the guys in front. We were about 2 seconds down, and that little bit of fighting has increased that gap to almost 6 seconds now, which is terrible.
It's easing off a bit, but the track is still going to be wet for a while. Be careful.
Okay, yeah, no, I could tell that it's still raining. Thank you. Seems like it might be a little more defending than attacking this race. Carlos Sainz looks like he might be going for a move into turn 1 down the straight, but it looks like actually it's going to be Antonelli around the outside into the braking zone. We go side by side under braking, and we have the inside line so we can cover off the move from that Mercedes. The cars behind are definitely getting a little feistier, and we still have a huge gap to the guys in front. I don't know how Antonelli and Sainz are getting the exits that they are. I feel like every time I put the power down, it's just crazy wheel spin. It looks like Antonelli might have a look up the inside here. Pretty terrible place to go for a move, so he's going to back out of that one. But what I'm hoping is once the dry line starts to form, we'll get a little more grip on corner exit, and hopefully, if the rain slows down by the later stages in this race, we can switch to the inters. If we do, chances are everyone else does, but that might give us a slight edge. The gap to the cars in front has gotten completely ridiculous. 16 seconds to Piastri, only on lap 8, so we're losing tons of time every lap. We got Antonelli going for a move around the outside into turn 1. He's ahead of us into the braking zone, but that inside line is just OP around here. You can squeeze him out on that right-hander, and we can keep 5th place. So this is getting a little close for comfort. Okay, we are starting to see a dry line form just a little bit. You can kind of see the racing line on the track now. That gives us a lot more grip, especially into the braking zones. Compared to before, it was really, really slippery, and now we're definitely getting a lot better stability on corner exit and a lot less wheel spin. So hopefully, I can start to pull away a little bit from Antonelli and from Sainz. My race is kind of depending on that. I can't keep defending from them forever. Yeah, I'm starting to feel a little bit more grip through the majority of the corners. It's really, it's still really awkward through there, though.
We'll be seeing at least 20 minutes of light rain. Inters and wets will probably have very similar pace at the moment.
Oh, okay. Inters and wets currently have similar pace, so maybe a couple more laps, and we might be able to switch onto the inters, maybe even a lap or 2 early, but it looks like we're going to have to hold that thought. Carlos Sainz going for a move around the outside into turn 1. He will have the inside line unless he's fully ahead. I can switch to the inside under braking here, side by side with the Williams and ahead at the corner, and we keep 5th place for the time being, so really starting to struggle to defend from these guys behind. Here comes Carlos Sainz yet again into turn 1. Around the outside goes the Williams under braking, and again we have the inside line. these guys are not really learning that it's pretty easy to defend from the inside. So we're pretty much just parking the bus here. The guys behind are all pretty close together. We're at the front of a big train of cars, and the cars in front have completely run away. 25 seconds is the gap to Piastri in front. So kind of no hope of catching him. Oh, we got a yellow flag behind us now through the chicane section. Someone's either going slowly or got into a bit of an accident. If there is a safety car from this yellow flag, that would be absolutely fantastic. It would open up the race for us, but I doubt we'll get a safety car. I haven't seen one in a while. It's Hajar out of the session, and it's a VSC. So I guess we got a kind of a safety car. It doesn't really help us out at all, though. Virtual safety car is now ending, so we only had about half a lap under the VSC, and obviously it's not really going to change anything. We still have Antonelli very close behind us, and back to green flag running we go. So I'm going to check the weather once we get through this chicane here and see what the status is on the intermediates. If we can get on inters, that would be fantastic. That was the wrong prompt. Okay, weather report.
Okay,
there we go.
So this light rain is going to be with us for a while now. It's hard to say if inters or wets are better right now.
Interesting. So we're right on the cusp of switching to inters. So we're going to have to wait a couple of laps, I guess, for them to be certain of the inters. But for now, we're just going to hog the dry line. We might have Antonelli going for a move up the inside. For some reason, contact with the Mercedes. He tries to hit an impossible gap down the inside. We're going to go into the braking zone of turn 1, and we can take that place right back from Antonelli. That was absolutely insane to go for a move up the inside right there. There was no gap whatsoever, and here comes Antonelli yet again. I'm going to hog the dry line on the straight here. Our pit window is open on this lap, so we could box for a set of inters potentially. Antonelli ahead at the braking zone down the inside. We go yet again to take that place right back from the Mercedes driver. So staying in 5th place now on lap 16 of 32. So halfway through this race, we're going to have to see what exactly we're looking at in terms of tires. Inters and wets having the same pace. So we're probably at the switchover point where it's safe to get on the inters. It is a pretty dry line throughout the track, so I think it's probably safe to do so. I'm going to stay out one more lap, I think, just to make sure that the inters is the right call. These guys behind me are faster than me. They're setting faster laps. Obviously, they're going for moves into turn 1 every single lap. So I think if we pit now, and it looks like no one else is really pitting, so I guess we made the right call. If we went into the box right there, there's a chance that we would have got overcut from the wet tire runners. Antonelli into turn 1. We're going to go down the inside. Yet again, constant battling around this section of the track. And it looks like, yeah, no one went in at all.
Light rain conditions for the foreseeable future. Inters look like the best tire for now.
Okay, there we go. Inters are the tire. I'm going to come in this lap. I assume everyone else is also going to be pitting for the inters. They have the same data that we have, so we'll see if the front runners are going to switch onto the inters, or if not, I assume it's going to be the rest of the field. Oh my god, the rear tires are absolutely cooked. They're basically like slicks now, 70% on the rear right and almost 70 on the rear left as well. So a lot of wheel spin has led up to pretty much full tire wear on the rears. So into the pit lane we go. I do think inters is going to be the right call here. There's a pretty dry line throughout the majority of the track. Luckily, we're in the last pit box, so we won't get caught up from anyone behind. Let's see what the Brad Pitt crew can do for us here. Pretty good stop onto the inters we go. And we actually gained some time in the pit lane. It looks like Antonelli got held up, maybe behind someone else coming in to change tires. So it looks like pretty much the entire field behind us has pitted, and they're all on the wet compound tires, which is crazy. Where we've been at the switchover point, arguably, for like 5 laps now. The inters are definitely going to be faster. That's a really crazy call to stick on the wets. Yeah, way more grip throughout the entire track right now. The inters are 100% the right tire choice for the time being. We're increasing the gap to Antonelli behind, and Lawson as well. I think we just gained about a second through those couple of corners. On to the main straight now for about to be lap 19 of 32. We were just purple in Sector 2 and purple in Sector 3 as well. So absolutely the best tire choice. That was a really good call. This might be a pretty quick lap time right here on to lap 20, and it's the fastest lap of the race. So we've got Verstappen in front on the inters, Piastri and I believe the rest of the field ahead of him on the wet compound tires as well. So eventually and inevitably they're going to get passed by Verstappen, who's on the faster tire. Maybe, if that's the case, they might dive into the pits as well and switch over to the inters, which would be absolutely fantastic news for us, because that would put them within reach of us. We go purple yet again in Sector 1, and still increasing that gap to the cars behind. And another fastest lap of the race here. We are absolutely cooking. It looks like Verstappen made a move on Piastri, so Verstappen in the podium positions now. Piastri still in the wet compound tires, and 28 seconds is the gap to the McLaren. So if he comes into the pit lane to switch to inters, we've got a chance at overtaking him. But if he stays out, it's going to be too little too late. Well, the good news is we've got a 15-second gap to Carlos Sainz behind, so we don't have to worry about getting overtaken. We're just kind of naturally building that gap, being on the faster tire. Piastri in front, though, is still within range of a free pit stop. If he were to come in, he would still come out of the pit lane ahead of us, probably by a second or two, but I don't see that really happening. There's only 4 laps remaining in this race. So Piastri will more than likely just kind of chill and take that 4th place finish. I'm pretty happy sitting at this pace, though. It's pretty comfortable. Just try to conserve the rears and avoid any mistakes. All right, not gonna lie. I mean, I'm happy that we're building the gap to the cars behind, but I'm getting a little bored. If I'm being honest, it was a very exciting race. I guess it just got more exciting. Piastri out of the session, so that's a free overtake for us. That's going to put us into 4th place with only about a lap and a half remaining. That is an absolute tragedy for Piastri. There he is, pulled to the side of the road right there. I can only assume it's a mechanical DNF on lap 31 of 32. That is, I would be fuming if I was Piastri right now. So that's a free place for us, up into 4th place. And we get a handful of extra points. Here we go, final lap of the race. All we gotta do is just bring it home and make sure we keep it out of the walls. That shouldn't be too hard. The track is almost like completely dry at this point. It's almost like the inters might be a little too much. Just as I say that, I feel like you can get away with slicks now. Yeah, look at the dry line right now. It's like almost half the width of the entire track. It's definitely dried out a lot. But anyway, around the last couple of corners now, really needed a good result after Miami. That was, and the race with a little bit of flair. Big kick oversteer on the last corner. Across the line, we take 4th place. And this is exactly what we needed. We needed to bounce back after that terrible performance last time out. This is good. So 1 shy of a podium, but we got very lucky at the end there. We grab 12 points for the Drivers' Championship. Our teammate, I believe, just got his highest race finish of the season as well in 14th, so pretty good weekend overall. All right, well, switching to the inters saved our race completely. I still am baffled. I don't know why the AI didn't also switch to the inters, but we'll take it. So 4th place finish in Imola. We've got Monaco up next, and that is going to be a very important race. Hopefully we can go for something big there, so stay tuned.